store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So it's May the 4th. We finally get to record a show on Star Wars Day. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's Star Wars Day, man.
It is. May the 4th be with you.
And with you. So, I gotta say, this has not happened.
Oh, I know.
I mean, granted, you know, when y'all are listening to this, it'll be a few days later, but...
Right, yes.
But we actually get to record on Star Wars Day. This is amazing.
Yes.
Don't think I've ever been more pumped to go record a show.
Absolutely. It's been Star Wars all day.
Yeah, I just wish they would have shown up for us.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to be greedy, but this is a little lackluster compared to, prior years.
I think you're starting to get to that point, Joe, where you're expecting it to all keep coming now. Give me more. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think it's like give me more than last year or more than the year before or anything like that. But this year's just jam-packed with stuff that's coming out, right?
Well,
so I think
that's
what has gotten me ramped up. We got Obi-Wan, we got Bad Batch,
right?
The Mandalorian, right? Like, if we're gonna listen to some reports, like,
oh yeah,
The Mandalorian by the end of the year,
right?
So that's 3 shows. That's if we're not expecting Andor to show up.
Oh, Andor's going to show up.
So that's 4. Can you see why I might be expecting a little bit more?
Yeah, I get it.
Now, while we were doing pre-show and I was, doing my bitching like I normally do.
Yeah, all the time.
I'm kidding. Thanks, buddy. But you did remind me, celebrations at the end of the month.
Right.
But we already talked about how lackluster Celebration was looking compared to the past 2.
Yeah, but I will say, I think they tend to hold a little something back, to come out as a surprise.
Yeah, but not in the panel scheduling.
Yeah, I got a feeling...
The surprises are you're going to a panel for a show you'd never heard of.
I have a feeling that...
And then you get to see the first episode or a trailer or something like that.
Well, I got a feeling we might see a trailer for something like Andor at this live action panel discussion, maybe. Something like that. I could see that happening.
Maybe. I was still thinking they were just going to show them an episode of Obi-Wan a day early. But you may be right.
I mean, showing Obi-Wan, I got a feeling that's going to become a thing there as well. That'll probably be playing on loop somewhere because it'll all be fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're going to see something at least for, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
After Obi-Wan comes out, there's probably going to be... Yeah, if you're trying to not get spoiled while you're at Celebration...
Yeah, good luck, yeah.
Good luck.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of hotel parties. People watching Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah. That honestly, that is one thing I'm like, I kind of wish I was going.
Yep.
Because the watch party that's going to be going on inadvertently Thursday night to Friday morning.
Heck yeah.
Like, that's going to be insane. Like, and it's not even going to be planned. Like, it's just going to be all these people in their hotel rooms watching Obi-Wan and then running through the hallways going, dude!
Exactly. Stormtroopers running through the hallways.
There's going to be this collective, like, calm going into it. Like, oh, God, I hope it don't suck.
Yeah, well.
Like Thursday at 11 o'clock, there's just going to be this hush. Like, oh, it's here.
Exactly. That is the caveat that we all like have for this show right now. It's like, man, I am so excited. God, I hope it don't suck. That's it's kind of how it goes.
Well, I just think of that scene in Fanboys, right? Like where he turns like, what if it sucks?
Exactly. It's so true.
It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I just assumed it was going to be awesome.
Of course.
We always just assume it's going to be awesome. And then we get in the parking lot and sit in our car going, what the hell was that? It's only happened once.
I was going to say that was more recent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stop before we go down that rabbit hole.
Exactly.
But, so yeah. So we got a new poster for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah, agree. You did mention something to me.
Well, yeah. Okay. So this poster looks really good. Obi-Wan looks awesome. I love the twin suns over his shoulder. The little Vader on the hill. Vader looks a little bit funky. I don't know. It's just I got a feeling it's because of the way the cape is flowing behind his legs and stuff.
Yeah, but it looks like he's got Darth Maul's legs, like
exactly, something like that.
Like they're reverse articulated there, like
almost. Yes, yes. But you know, that aside.
Oh shit! They gave Vader spider legs too.
Yeah. Well, they are detachable, right?
Right. He could have different legs for different occasions, like climbing the, dunes and stuff in the sand.
Right.
Reverse articulation, man. That's the way to go.
Oh God. But
yep.
That aside, pretty cool poster.
Oh, it's a pretty cool poster. It's really cool. Ewan looks amazing.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
He looks exactly like we all imagine he would look like as a slightly older Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Like that middle ground.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I love
what's ridiculous too is like you look at that and it's like, man, he could still play young Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I know. I think we've all just aged with him.
Apparently. Like, yeah, it's just because I'm older now. I'm like, yeah, he looks pretty young.
Yeah.
Hope I look that good when I get there.
I love even the lightsaber as the eye in Kenobi. Now the lightsaber on his belt, it's kind of a tricky one, right? Because if you're carrying that thing around all the time, got to be careful. Make sure it doesn't like
peek out,
right? Because I could like tip somebody off as to who you might be.
Yeah. You don't want to be printing and showing you're a Jedi.
Exactly.
Not the time, dude. No, I have a feeling that gets dusted off and like put on his belt. Like he wasn't carrying that around all the time.
I have a feeling you're right.
In fact, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
So, and the reason I say that is because along with the poster, we got a trailer.
We did. So, I know you can't watch it, but let's say we give it a listen.
Yeah, I think we listened to it.
They're coming. Stay hidden, or we will not survive. Leave us alone. When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father? You still want Kenobi. But he's gone.
Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter to squeeze him. You can't run, Obi-Wan! You can't escape him!
All right. So, yeah, you can't get away with an inhale, exhale like that with just anyone.
Exactly.
Like you hear that, it's like, oh, it's about to hit the fan.
That's right.
But what I was alluding to with the lightsaber on the belt there,
Yeah.
we see Obi-Wan using those primitive blasters.
Oh, yes.
You know, those uncivilized blasters,
yes.
just so much.
Yes. It's true. But now you have to assume that when he comes face to face with Vader, there's no blasters involved.
No. There's no blasters involved. But, like, he's leading up to that. He's trying to not be discovered.
Exactly.
And at the same time, maybe ill-equipped.
Right.
Not going to run around with a lightsaber.
So he's forced to use blasters.
Yes.
Which,
Nice touch.
Yeah. You know, I love the fact that, you know, it just goes against every fiber of his Jedi being, you know, to have to use a blaster, but he's forced into these situations, you know, Grievous,
Right.
you know, clearly, and this, it's, you know, but it's,
So, one thing I will say about this trailer
yeah.
is this interaction between him and Owen,
Oh,
which,
yeah.
wow, he got a major dig in there, right? Like,
yes, but I got to tell you, that right there gave me chills, that interaction. It told me that we are going to see the basis for this, you know, Wizard's just a crazy old man bit,
Right.
you know. I love it.
and it's going to add a lot to the coldness that Owen shows Luke.
Right.
You know, it's purely out of protection. Like, he really does care for Luke,
Absolutely.
and he's just trying to protect him. Like, that's watching that, I was like, wow. Just in the trailer, you're adding depth to this character.
He wants to protect Luke, but he also knows that his very presence could bring hell down upon his house,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolute destruction, right?
Yes.
But what I also get out of this is we talked a lot about reasons Obi-Wan would leave the planet.
Right.
And this interaction here tells me he's leaving to draw them away.
Yeah.
They're on to him. They
Well,
know he's there.
There's so, you know, there's been lots of leaks and stuff, which we've dipped our toe into a little bit, but not got real in depth. And there's a couple things in this trailer that kind of lead me to believe that a lot of these are legit.
Yeah.
So, like, I believe that opening dialogue we heard, you know, where what does it say? They're coming, you know, and he says, stay hidden. I believe that's a Jedi talking to Obi-Wan. You know, a Jedi that sought him out to try and start things back up again. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, no, lay low, you know?
Right.
So, and I think he's going to be what draws.
In fact, you see a glimpse of a character that looks to be wearing Jedi robes.
Right.
Now, we say Jedi robes, but we've seen a lot of characters on Tatooine wear similar attire to what Jedi robes would be.
Yeah, similar but different. I mean, you clearly
but these
see...
look like Jedi robes.
Yeah.
Which, if this guy's telling him, like, stay hidden, like, dude, you're wearing Jedi robes.
No, I think it's Obi-Wan saying stay hidden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you know, clearly Obi-Wan has got a similar look, but it's different. You know, it's more Tatooine.
Yeah, it's got this look like it's desert attire, but I got a past.
Right.
You know, like
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I like that. They're alluding to the real reason he may leave the planet.
Right.
And it's not because he's going to go parading around trying to help the rebellion.
Exactly.
No, it's part of what his mandate is.
And yeah. When he becomes old enough, he's got to be trained, you know? And I have to say, that line of dialogue there, the inflection that Ewan McGregor's putting on that just gave me Alex Guinness vibes. It's like, ooh.
But not only that, it echoed his, you know, I will train the boy. Like,
yes, but I'm just.
But it bridges that gap, right?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
It's got that Alex Guinness vibe, but it still screams when he's saying, no, I'm going to train Anakin. It's what Qui-Gon wanted. Like, that vibe.
But I'm talking about the tone and inflection and stuff, right? You can tell that Ewan did work to make his voice, and I'm judging this all off of one line, mind you, but you know, he did work to make it bridge that gap. You know, this is Obi-Wan smack dab in the middle of the time frame, right? But you can hear the bits of how Alec Guinness sounded coming through in his voice, you know. So I'm going to be giving him kudos for that, because that was the first thing that I thought of when I heard that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's exciting.
What I love is, you know, we have, and you know, this goes right back to what you were saying. We left episode 3. I'll watch over the boy, you know. And what we knew before was episode 4, when the time was right, he trained him, you know, he got him started on his journey, basically. So, and here we have this line of dialogue, basically him stating, look, I promised to do this thing. I have to do this thing, you know, so.
Yeah, and we're getting a massive tease, too, of this epic showdown that's been teased to us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in both the poster and the trailer.
Right. So, okay. This is another one of those leaks that you know, I heard of, and what I'm basing this legitimacy on is simply what I saw in the trailer, and it's referring to a line of dialogue. So, you know, it just seems like it would go together. But when you so if you don't want to hear this, plug your ears for 30 seconds. But when you see Obi-Wan appear to be looking at Vader for the first time, the leak is he apparently says, "My God, what have they done to you?" So, and it's like, oh, I can see that coming out of his mouth right after that look. Yeah, that's
Huh.
What?
My God.
I don't know. That's what the leak is. I don't know. It's rumor.
Oh, I understand. It just that particular piece of the dialogue doesn't fit, but it could be.
I mean, it's
Seems a little too earthly. Like,
well, taken out of context, maybe, but I don't know. I think it might work for me. I'm just looking at the look on his face.
well, if there's anything we've learned, it's don't take Joe's word for it, because
Well,
I'm doubting you for the entire season of the Book of Boba Fett, and I've been flat wrong every single time. So,
oh, come on now.
let's roll with it.
Oh, jeez. So, okay.
Am I wrong?
No, I don't know. No, another thing I was looking at though, and I was trying to figure out. It's blurry, it's dark, but I was trying to figure out the background of where Obi-Wan is standing. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm imagining things, but I almost thought that was like a bunch of racks of like battle droids, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But who knows where they are? It's almost what it seemed like it looked like to me, but maybe I'm seeing things. Because
So I'm doing a quick frame by frame
okay,
just to try and see here.
sure,
Yeah, I mean, it's blurry.
it is.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be Rex of battle droids.
So you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say because it is so
blurry.
right. Or it could just be a hangar somewhere or something. I don't know.
It could just be some nets covering some stuff.
Right?
Yeah, it's tough to say. And I'm going frame by frame here, and it is not clearing up at all.
No. Well, I mean, the focus is on Obi-Wan's face, so.
Yeah, I'm just looking for like an accidental clear up the background. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to accidentally.
Of course not. They're too good for that.
That they are. So, yeah.
So the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking you're right. It's something else, but.
Yeah, it looks like it could be netting covering something on in the back of a ship or something like that.
Right.
But it is very blurry.
So, this, I get the impression with this, assembling of Darth Vader we see here. I get the impression that, he's spending a lot of time trying to heal himself or something, right? And he really doesn't come out unless he's needed. Like maybe he gets word we've tracked him down to this system and,
Yeah, but like he like gets disassembled and like reassembled like he's Iron Man. Like,
well, I mean, we saw him in Rogue One, he was in the Bacta, like all the
I get that.
electronic parts off.
Yeah, probably. They're probably not submergible.
Right.
They probably got like a 2 foot or something like that. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking that this, the Bacta tank, it's where we get our flashbacks probably.
I mean, there's precedent. There's precedent.
We do have the precedent for that. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't know. The other thing I will say is Rupert Friend as the Grand Inquisitor. Digging the way this guy looks more now. There was a lot of, people saying, he doesn't look like he did in Rebels and blah, blah, blah. Not that he needs to, but,
Well, I would agree with that sentiment. If that's where you're going to put this, yes, you're right.
Right.
He doesn't look anything like the character in Rebels.
But
I'll agree with that.
looking pretty good the more we see him, I think.
Looks relatively menacing.
Yes.
They're doing a good job of not really showing like a snarling face on him.
Right.
I think that would be the moment they're probably going to use to connect it, and you're going to go, oh, yeah, there we go. There will be a shot in this that is framed the right way.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
That he's going to look fabulous. And make that connection.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, with the way that character was designed for animation, you're going to be hard pressed to be able to pull that off in live action without doing a whole bunch of CGI and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, who's got a head like that?
Exactly.
Like, find that guy. Good luck. So yeah, I have very little issues with that. I have more issues with his voice.
Okay.
It's just not. It's not the same inflection as Jason Isaacs, right? Like,
right. Well, yeah.
It's just different, but I'm okay with different. If the character's done in a way that you're like watching, going, yeah, I get it. This is this character. I can roll with that. How they look, how they sound, and things like that is it's not important as long as they bring that character to life in a believable fashion, right? Like,
exactly. If he can do for that character what Rosario Dawson did for Ahsoka, we're golden.
yeah, I mean, Rosario Dawson doesn't sound like Ashley Eckstein.
Exactly.
Doesn't look like Ashley Eckstein. Whereas the Ahsoka model kind of has some Ashley Eckstein vibes.
Yep.
But it works. It works because they're directed properly.
Yep. And they can pull it off as an actor. That's that's the other thing.
Right.
So
that's the other.
And I got a feeling we're in safe hands here. This is
I mean, and honestly, that's my baseline here going forward, right? Like, my initial fear was I've been listening to Ashley Eckstein voice this character for X number of years. And now it's going to be someone else.
right.
This is going to be weird. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, I believe it.
Yep.
It's like, it worked.
It totally worked.
It worked. So if they can take a character like Ahsoka, a character I love dearly, one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars, and make that work with someone new, then I gotta believe they can do it with the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. Sure, it will be fine.
But you're absolutely right. Like, just looking at this character fully fleshed out and like walking and moving and things, it looks great. It looks like a bad guy. Like,
Yeah, totally.
We got to see it in action before we pass our ultimate judgment, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not passing any judgment. I have my hopes and all of that, but you know, I got a feeling that this is going to go down a path that works for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, my only hang up so far has been the voice, and it's because in the first trailer, I thought it was Anakin talking. It's like, oh no, that's the Grand Inquisitor. That's weird. So that's where I'm at. Like, as far as visual wise, like, whatever. You're bringing a character to live action, it's going to be different.
Right.
It's going to be different. Ahsoka's different.
Yeah. Overall, I'm digging it.
Oh, I'm digging it. All right. So since we're talking about the next project upcoming, we might as well talk about Ian McDiarmid and what he had to say at so this was at the ICCC,
right? The Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention.
There we go. Funny, the thing I got up only says ICCC.
Ah.
So I'm glad you had that.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell is that? So, this quote right here from Ian McDiarmid. It's got people buzzing. So, there's a certain show coming soon, set right around the time I may have considered to be very active. Whether or not you will see me or see my physical body, I cannot comment on, but you will certainly feel my presence. And this is referring to an upcoming Disney Plus show.
Wonder what that could be.
Well, everybody's like, could it be Andor? Could it be Obi-Wan? Well, it could be both.
It could be both, yes.
Because time he's considered to be very active, well, that's both of these.
So, again, I know this is, it's almost like a personal retconning type thing, right? But when in Return of the Jedi, when Vader is talking about, you know, Luke being on Endor and, you know, wants to confront him and this and that and all the blah, 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 you know, Palpatine gets this tone in his voice, is like, okay, you will go here and then he will come to you. This is what I've seen. Now just, you know, get over it, Vader. And, you know, it's almost the tone he has. I have a feeling that we might see the beginnings of, you know, Vader has this obsession with finding Obi-Wan, and the Emperor is hearing about it all these years ago, but, you know, from Return of the Jedi. And it's like, he's probably just thinking, okay, Vader, you and your obsessions with finding all those people, and, you know, sick of it. But,
well, there comes a certain point where he's got to wonder if he's severed himself from Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
Is Anakin truly dead? If all you can do is look for Obi-Wan and your son?
Right.
Like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
Are you Darth Vader or are you Anakin Skywalker? So yeah, Obi-Wan might be the first glimpse into that. Like this passion for, even if it's revenge, right?
Yeah.
That's not severing the tie.
Now he can frame it in the you know, I'm finishing up. I'm doing the cleanup work on Order 66, but, you know, Palpatine's probably already moving on to bigger and better things, you know, as far as...
Yeah, and we got a crew for that, right? Like,
right. Yes, we do.
Here's your Inquisitors. What are you doing?
Right. Exactly.
Why this personal interest?
Well, you know.
How much Anakin is left in there?
Cut the only arm I had left and both my legs off, so, you know.
Well, I mean, that would be the definite case. Like, look, this dude defeated Vader. I'm supposed to be Vader, unbeatable.
Right.
Can't let this guy who's like, you know, the 1-0 against Vader walk around.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, he's got that that monkey on his back, you know. If I'm supposed to be the face of, you know, enforcement in the galaxy here, yeah, the one guy who beat me once, he got to go.
Right, and it's sounding like he's still going to go into episode 4. You know, Obi-Wan's still going to be 1-0 with the 1-0 contest.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Like, we won't even call it a draw. Like, it's a no contest. Like,
I don't know. I can't wait for this. It's going to be amazing.
oh, I want to see how they're going to execute this meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm still convinced. I feel pretty strongly about this. I might be right about this one. Like, this is going to end with Vader kind of convinced he won and Obi-Wan's dead.
Yeah, I think it's got to. I mean, it only makes sense with the lines of dialogue we have in episode 4. Right? Felt the presence I haven't felt since ... Right? And he's thinking about it like, thought I killed that guy.
Now, here's my question. How does Vader walk away from this? Does he walk away intact? Wounded?
I think he's got to be wounded.
I mean, he was wounded in the Ahsoka confrontation.
Yes.
You know, he's like limping out of there.
But I think he's got to be wounded because whatever happens has got to convince him there's no way Obi-Wan could have survived that. And I got to go get some help.
Yeah, and it can't be in a way that it felt like he wasn't battling to the death.
Right.
Like, if he walks away unscathed, you might think he might be like, he might be tricking me.
You would think that Vader would want to finish him off. For
Right.
sure. Yeah.
But you also got to consider, I mean, their last confrontation, you know, he got the better of him.
Right.
Can't imagine that you're going to walk away unscathed from a guy who already beat you once.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I feel like Vader's got to be injured in some way.
Yeah, I think so too. It might be reminiscent of what we saw with Vader and Ahsoka, you know,
Yeah.
but different, right? Reminiscent, but different.
Well, yeah, I sure hope that, like, Obi-Wan isn't back in episode 4 because Ezra brought him back through the portal. Like,
oh God, no. We're not going there. No.
so, yeah, it can't be the same.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like Vader walks away thinking it's done.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? It might make sense that Vader leaves that confrontation, and bringing us back around to Ian McDiarmid. He kneels on his little dais there. Yeah, exactly, and reports back to Palpatine. You know, it is done, my master. You know.
All right, good.
I mean, I got a feeling that's going to be the way that we're seeing the Emperor in this. It's going to be all in hologram form. But I got a feeling we'll see him. I mean, you'll certainly feel my presence. I'm okay. I got a feeling we'll see him somehow.
Well, especially if he's saying it. Like, if they're just going to allude to the Emperor, I don't think they, like, contact Ian McDiarmid. Like, hey, can we use your name?
Yeah, I don't.
Can we say the Emperor?
Yeah, that doesn't work that way.
No. No. They just say the Emperor and he wouldn't know shit about it. So,
Exactly.
for him to know about it says that there's at least dialogue.
Right. And that's going to be interesting to see what it is, too, because, you know.
And the fact that he says, whether or not you'll see my physical body, I cannot comment on. Why would you even say that?
Right. I got a feeling that is approaching the line that Lucasfilm has drawn for these actors leading up to the release of this, you know, because
Mark Hamill and Ewan McGregor would have both said, I'm not physically in it.
Right. Yes.
I was never on set.
Yeah, I think he's right at that line where they say, where they give him the call. Hey, shut your mouth.
I mean, we confirmed stuff on Harrison Ford saying, I hear they're making another one.
Right.
It's like, he said it. They're doing it.
Yep.
Whether or not you will see my physical body, I cannot comment on.
Exactly.
Okay, we're going to see it. Although, I'll say this. Obi-Wan is less likely for me than Andor.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
He's not the focus in Obi-Wan.
So, what's his role in Andor?
No idea.
Because, I mean, I don't know if that makes as much sense to me, because where you have Palpatine, you have Vader, usually, and, you know.
Yeah, but I would expect to see Andor being motivated by a speech from the Emperor.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Emperor is not his fight.
Right, but I have a
I
feeling...
understand what you're going to say there with like Vader, but
Yeah.
I feel like putting the Emperor in there would attract attention away from that battle that's between these two.
I don't know. I mean, you know, in the past, Obi-Wan has had plenty of dealings with Palpatine, you know, and...
I understand, but let's just look at episode 4. Vader didn't report back on what happened with Obi-Wan Kenobi to the Emperor.
No, he didn't have much of a chance to.
I don't know that we'll see anything like. I think the focus is going to be between these two characters. That's what we signed up to see. That's what we're going to see. I don't necessarily expect the Emperor in Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Inquisitors, that's also Vader's baby. That's not an Emperor thing.
True.
So I don't really expect to see the Emperor. Vader is the big bad in that setting. And I don't think they'll detract from that. Obi-Wan's going to face the big bad in the series. There's not going to be a tier above that. I think that helps the storytelling, especially since you're putting a tier below Vader. Those are his direct, command. I don't think you see the Emperor. I think the Emperor, it's a speech or something in Andor. That's what he worked on.
It could be. I think you could have some interaction between Palpatine and Vader.
I don't discount that it could happen. I just don't think it will.
Interesting.
Personally, I think this is, a battle of brothers.
Right. There's no doubt about that.
And I don't think bringing in Anakin's deranged stepfather is going to help.
Well, we shall see.
Yeah, like I said, I think it'll be Andor, but that's just me.
Right on.
All right. Also today, we got another episode of Gallery,
Yes.
the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Well,
I gotta say, I dug it. I liked it. It was cool. It was very similar to what we've seen in the past, as far as these things go. I liked a lot of the insight we got into how Robert Rodriguez works and the creative ways that they got around having to be, everyone stuck at home and figuring, how to collaborate still,
mm-hmm.
A lot of that kind of stuff was cool. I really liked seeing how they utilized Mark Hamill on set.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of, I don't know, some of the stuff where they showed basically them just having fun on set. If you can make something as good as Book of Boba Fett was, and from my point of view, seeing them having a good time doing it, that's always a plus, because even if I like something, if it seems like someone hated doing it, it's like it almost detracts from it a little bit, you know what I mean? But
Right.
So seeing that they could have a good time on set, seeing Ming-Na Wen, geek out about seeing there was that one shot she saw Hamill and Rosario Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
This goes right back to that tweet a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, calling her out.
Exactly. And to actually see footage of her going, oh my God, that's awesome to see. So, because that right there is like, it's a big middle finger to whoever posted that tweet. That was
And then, like you mentioned, Ming-Na Wen, like her excitement about getting to ride an actual bantha.
Ride a bantha. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
Which I gotta say, dude, that bantha.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow. So this was my big takeaway from this episode of Gallery. One thing I complained about during The Force Awakens and things like that was this desire to use practical effects for the sake of practical effects and pure nostalgia.
Right.
Whereas here in the Book of Boba Fett, they took practical effects and they moved that into the future.
Right.
Like you're seeing the prosthetics that they're putting on these actors' faces. When they move their mouth, the mask moves.
Yeah.
Their eyes, mask. Their facial inflections. This is all transferred into the physical mask they're wearing.
Yes, the chrysanthemum mask. Yes.
Oh, dude, that was bitching.
That was really cool. Yes.
The Ithorian.
Yes.
The mayor.
Yep.
Dude, that's awesome. And Cad Bane.
Yeah, totally.
I had some complaints about the Cad Bane setup, right?
Yeah.
Like just some things looked a little weird with the mouth and things like that. But when I saw how they actually, like, dude, that's actually the actor on set. That's not CGI. That's not.
And I gotta say, I thought there was some CGI involved.
Exactly,
with that,
and that actually was the source of my complaint.
Right.
But now knowing that this was all prosthetics and things like that, like, okay, I'm good with it.
Yep, me too.
And that's cool. Like the way that, like, his facial expressions and stuff is getting transferred into the mask he's wearing.
Yeah.
Come on. And like you said, the chrysanthemum one was wow.
That right there is some stuff that, you think from a layman perspective, I guess, you think, well, they got to be able to do something like that. Technology's got to be there. And it's like, yes, probably, but up until now has probably been prohibitively expensive. So now the technology is there and they can afford to do it. And there it is. And we saw the results on screen, which were fabulous.
But let's take it further, right? Like the Rancor.
Yeah.
The physical Rancor they had, like the muscle movement, like
yes.
Danny Trejo, like pointed this out.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at this robotic thing they have there and I'm watching it. I'm like, wow, seriously, when it moves, you see the muscle flexes and stuff in this practical effect. That is wild.
That is wild.
So they're actually making these effects that they can capture on screen and not have to alter.
Right.
They can use and they're using those muscle movements and movements from that animatronic to build the CGI for the arms and the legs and things. That's wild.
It is.
That's
wild.
what I'm talking about. That's Star Wars.
That is Star Wars.
Okay.
Where you're Star Wars innovates with all this stuff. And that's what we're seeing here again, which is exciting. This ride we took during the sequel trilogy of like, we got to do these practical effects and we got to make it look like 1977. I'm like, that's not what George Lucas would do. No. See, that's the thing. It was almost as though that was like a selling point. We're going to do practical effects because that's what was done way back then, and that's what we're going to do again. And it's like, whoa. Lucas was always innovating.
Mm-hmm.
There are those who would look back on some of the effects in the prequels now and say, it looks kind of fakeish, whatever. Yes, but it was like, for the time, it was cutting edge, so none of that stuff bugs me at all.
Right. But this idea that they can move back, but move forward. So they move back by using these practical effects and building these monstrosities, but yet still move that method of doing it into the future. So you build these animatronics, you like that Bantha. When they were showing the behind the scenes shots of them riding a Bantha, it's like, wow, it almost looks like what they showed on screen.
Exactly.
And it sells, man. It looks like the Bantha.
Yep.
So they're finding ways to use this practical effect, which gives it that rugged look that made Star Wars so iconic.
Right. The used universe.
Yes. The used universe. It made it so iconic. So they're finding a way to do that, but still weave in the new technology with the CGI and things like that, but having a baseline in the animatronic. Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, totally cool.
I mean, they didn't explain why the chain got so long while defeating that sand monster.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I think that was a device that we weren't supposed to actually take note of, but it's kind of obvious. Yeah.
Because they pointed out, like, he figured it out. I mean, yeah. He did. With the Extendo Chaino.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I dig that. It's new technology, and I'm not that arrogant to say Star Wars always has to utilize new technology. That's no.
Simply doing that doesn't make Star Wars either.
Right,
but you utilize it where it belongs.
But this idea that we got to do exactly what George did in 1977 to make this work is wrong.
Correct.
That's my main point.
Right.
That assumption is wrong. Because you look at like Grogu.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that this is my saying it's not necessarily true that you don't do that at all. Because the way they made Grogu move and stuff, that's exactly the way they would have done it in 1977, with the exception of his head,
right,
his facial movements. All that was live to the doll.
right.
But, like, it's still puppeteering.
Yes. They just got, like, a lot more puppet masters than puppet here. That's all. With Grogu.
Oh, yeah.
There's like, what, 4 guys controlling him?
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah, but that was cool to see. Like, there's a physical puppet that they're using to shoot these scenes. And, man, they made that character look so alive.
Yeah, totally.
But at the same time, you're watching him do all this puppeteering with his arms, his legs, things like that, you know, making him reach over to do something. It's all puppeteering, but his facial expressions and all that, it's all animatronic.
Right.
And it looks so good. In fact, his face is the best looking part of his character.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's all newer technology. So
They show those guys with the like RC remotes off
Mhm.
to the side, controlling all that stuff, while the other guys are making them walk around and stuff. It's
heck,
cool.
you even see the one part where Mark's shooting a scene, right? And he like reaches over and like adjusts the head.
Right.
Like even Mark's involved. He's like, it's a little the wrong way. Like, and I'm sure that was from direction. You know, someone probably told him to do that.
Yep.
I'm sure you don't touch Grogu without permission.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think Mark said it in this, right? Here's the star of the show, or whatever it was he said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny too seeing those scenes where Mark is sitting there with Grogu. You still got that Yoda vibe, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Mark made Yoda what Yoda was.
Right.
He sold that puppet.
Yep.
Because if you really sit back and focus on Yoda when watching Empire,
Yep. It's pretty bad, right?
yeah, that's not a believable character.
Exactly.
But Mark makes it believable.
Yep.
And I say that with a, you know, I grew up in the, you know, modern era mindset.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he sold that character, and seeing him interact with this, I shouldn't say newer version of that, but yeah, a new version of that same kind of feel.
Essentially is. Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah. Very cool. And Mark said it too. He recognizes that this is kind of like a full circle scenario here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how Luke was taught by a member of that species, and now Luke is teaching a member of that species. You know, it's I don't know. Mark has always said, you know, he's not one to sit down and watch these movies, but he still understands and can see the reverence where it's applicable, you know.
Yeah, he still doesn't explain why Luke Skywalker is a klepto and has Yoda's lightsaber.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know about that yet. But yeah, klepto.
Like, oh, look, a mini lightsaber. That'll be cool in my collection.
Collection.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Grogu, he'd have become Grievous. That's another lightsaber
Hey.
in my collection.
He lost his first lightsaber. I mean, if you're just going to lose it, you know, get the joke because his hand went with it.
Yeah. Yeah, Anakin kept doing that.
Right?
That's one of my favorite parts of Attack of the Clones. Like, Obi-Wan's going to kill me.
Yep.
So, yeah, but this episode was really neat. And man, I got to say, I actually enjoyed this episode of Gallery probably more than the other episodes.
Really?
Yeah, just because I guess it was mainly the Rancor stuff and just all the prosthetics.
Yes.
I felt like it showed a little more behind the scenes stuff.
I agree with you.
And
go ahead.
And less of that, like, oh, this is how we develop the story. Like, developing the story is cool.
Right.
You know, which is what they really did with the Mandalorian Gallery stuff. It was like, this is why we came up with this. This is our source material, all this stuff. But this really showed, like, the pieces that they used to shoot these scenes.
Yes.
And I really like that.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot more of the technical stuff. I personally do miss that bit that they did with the first season of Gallery for the Mandalorian, where they had the round table with the actors and the producers and stuff.
Yeah, if they could combine all of this.
Right, because with that, you got a little bit of everybody's insight into it, you know? I think with what they did here, they're trying to catch all that kind of stuff in the candid moments on set and stuff like that, which is cool. But it's also nice to sit people down together and have a discussion about it, right? I mean, because that just, for me, it brings me back to like what we're doing right here, you know, a back and forth where you can.
I understand, like, you know, but a lot of that discussion and a lot of those first episodes of the Mandalorian Gallery, it was really focused on the volume.
Totally, yeah.
And like at a certain point, it started to feel like an ad for the volume, like they were trying to like reach out to.
Right.
Like, hey, look what we got. You should work with us.
Yes, there's no doubt.
But this one, like I said, the prosthetics, like all that stuff they were showing, and I should say, like the fact that those prosthetics move the way they did, that was something I don't think I've ever seen. I try to think of any behind the scenes stuff I've watched for anything else, and I don't remember seeing prosthetics that move like that.
No.
Like when you like squint your eyes, your prosthetics do that.
Yes. Or raise your eyebrows, and the eyebrows on the costume.
Seriously?
Raise. Yeah, I know.
You can move your freaking eyebrows?
Yep, exactly.
Like, yeah, that was beyond cool for me to see. Like,
yeah, totally.
That whole prosthetics part made that whole episode worth it for me. Because there was a lot of other portions of it. I was like, man, this felt like a trailer, like a behind the scenes teaser trailer.
Right. Yeah, some of it did.
Really the beginning, right?
Yeah.
You know, with the Tim Morrison stuff, like, cool. I love that he's back. I love that he's excited, but like that all felt like a behind the scenes teaser trailer, like they did for every movie that's come out.
Right. Sizzle reel, right?
Yeah, sizzle reel. That's exactly what I was looking for. But when they got to the prosthetics and they showed the Rancor and the Bantha, I'm like, now this is cool.
Right.
The only thing that would have been an icing on the cake for this, if they would have included music.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, totally. That would have been cool. Huh.
Like, I feel like that's something that's getting overlooked these days.
A little bit sometimes. And
it shouldn't be, because these composers that are coming in and doing this stuff.
Right.
They're killing it.
They are killing it. And
they're doing it with a new style. That's the best part of it.
Yep.
It's not coming in trying to parrot John Williams. They're coming in, they're using John Williams' influence, and they're creating something new.
Right.
Like The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, you know, Ludwig Göransson, it has done something completely different. Completely new sounds, completely new instruments. But still capturing that spirit.
Right. It wouldn't hurt them to make it a two-parter. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do one.
If they do.
For
Didn't they
every
do
episode.
something in the first round of gallery with him?
I think they did, yes. And in season 1 of Mandalorian, they had one of these for every episode. You don't need that. But
No.
if you had like I said, a two-parter, another hour episode, where you could throw some of the stuff like I was talking about in and go into the music and, you know, all that kind of, you know, sprinkle that in there too, that would work for me. Because a little bit more depth would be awesome. And
Yeah. Well, like the first 20 minutes for me, I was like, oh, are they going to get into anything?
right.
Because it just felt like, oh, yeah, we had Tim Morrison back. I was like, we knew that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is what he's done. It's like, yeah, okay. Like, you're not scratching anything that I don't know.
Right.
And until they got to that second half of the episode is spectacular.
Yeah.
So they saved the best for last.
Right.
Because that second half was fabulous.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, kind of makes me want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I got done. It's like, I need to watch this again. But I might be able to skip the first 20 minutes.
Right.
Because, like, honestly, like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, is there anything new here for me? Like, this is stuff I've seen in, you know, just interviews. And
Right.
like, there was nothing new there for me. Like, where's the peek behind the curtain I'm waiting for? And we got there.
We got there. Eventually. Yes, we got there.
So, but yeah, I'd like to see another episode. It seems like they only scratched the surface of what they did, because they got into the whole deepfakes thing.
Yep.
But they kind of glossed over that.
I got a feeling there's proprietary technologies involved with all of that they can only say so much anyway.
I understand, but I still feel like they probably could have told us just a smidge more.
Right.
Other than like, yeah, we got this guy and he helped us do this.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, but it was a fabulous episode, worth the watch.
Totally.
All right. Well, Doug, it looks like we got some stuff to bump till next week.
I think you are correct, sir.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us. We are also on social media, at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore, at The Wars and More on Instagram. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We'll talk next week.